Hey, guess what? I think we're on.
Oh, we are?
I think so. Let me let me
You
double
think?
double check. We're on show up. I should probably stream it to my here. I'll put it on my personal one too. There we go. Now it's every place.
Every place?
It's
Is that
every
what you said?
place.
Every place?
It's everywhere. It's on Show Up Central Oregon. It's on my own personal. It's on YouTube also. And hi all everyone. And there's Affton. Where's Affton? Afton's right there. She's really small in the frame. She's like, there we go.
Am I?
Yeah, there we go. That's better. Hi
I
Afton.
feel
How are you?
huge. Hi, I'm good.
We're calling this Late Night with Afton and Matt. I don't know if that's a good name or a bad name. What do you think?
Late night with Affton and Matt. It could be worse.
As in better or worse?
Um. Oh,
Hey, will you quit listening to the audio?
sorry. My
Jeez,
bad.
man.
I don't know how to turn it off. Okay.
You can turn the volume down.
Oh,
There's this
got it.
there's this button
You're
on the
so
side.
This is why we're calling it late night.
Oh, okay. So, hi,
Hi.
Afton.
Hi. Hi.
I'm like my hair. Let's. Can we get one thing out of the way?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to like somebody have a buzz cut or something of my hair. I may just like go like completely bald. I know there's lots of guys out there that are probably feeling the same way right now, because it's not fun.
I don't know that I would complain about being bald because I know there's some men out there that are bald and probably look at you and like, dude, let's talk about this hair situation. Like, beggars can't be choosers. You got the good end of the stick here.
I
Like, just enjoy the
I
hair.
didn't get the good. Like, do you know how? Like, look at this. Look. See, this is not the good end of the stick. This is not the good end of the stick. There you go.
I have so much gray. So much gray. It's
Well,
not even funny.
well, yeah. What color is your natural color, Afton? Gray?
Gray. We've talked about this.
No, but we haven't talked about on air whether people are what we're divulging all our little dirty little secrets now with
Matt, Matt,
everybody. What?
Matt,
What?
this is wisdom.
This
Do you
is
remember this conversation? It's not gray, it's wisdom.
mm-hmm. That's what you call it.
It's my story.
Uh-huh. Are you sticking to it?
For sure.
So, Afton, we haven't caught up recently. We've been, you've joined me and Tom every once in a while, which Tom's going to be on tomorrow. How is life for you? How is business? And, this is a brand new world. And what's going on through your head, I guess, more than anything, Afton?
Oh, we have to talk about me.
Of course, I don't want to talk about me unless you come up with some great questions, and then we can talk about me. But I'm not talking about me. Hey, by the way, did you know that I got a new chair? I like this new chair. This is nice.
Okay, it's like an ergonomic one.
It kind
It's
of
even
is.
like neck postured,
Yeah.
and look at my new chair.
Is that a foam pillow?
No, it's just a regular pillow.
Oh, I have
It's
a
pretty great
I have
though.
a buckwheat pillow. I
What
have
is that?
yeah, buckwheat pillow. They're the most comfortable slash uncomfortable pillows
Wait, did
ever.
you say comfortable slash
Uh
uncomfortable?
huh. Yeah, yeah. They are rock hard when you first put your head on them, but then you like can shimmy around and then it like cradles.
It cups your head.
Exactly.
That's
Oh.
funny.
So what how is business? How are things going?
Business is good. It's different. I feel like we've had to take a step back in time, back to, I guess, like pre-employees. So, we have a few of our employees that are working minimally, but it's kind of all hands on deck, especially with my dad and myself. So, going back to doing a lot of the things that we were doing in the beginning is kind of how we're staying afloat right now, lean and mean. With that, our website sales are off the charts, which is really weird for us because we've never been a direct to consumer company. Um, So going from shipping out, 10 wholesale orders a day to 60 website orders, that's a lot of, it's just different. It's different integration, it's different materials, different packaging, different processes. Um, yeah, so I think we kind of shifted gears and just reinvented ourselves overnight. And with that comes its own set of challenges. But overall, I think that I'm hoping, anyways, that we'll come out of this kind of unscathed. And even that's like a horrible term. Of course, we'll be scathed. Of course, we'll be affected by this. But you just got to kind of keep pushing forward, like like nothing happened, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, overall, so you can choose to get as. I mean, I know you're fairly upfront with me, but what layoff wise did you cut staff? Did you what? I mean, you obviously had to, right? Is that sort of what you've been dealing with? I guess.
Yeah, so I was pretty reactive. I think personally in a positive way. We've talked about this several times, but when, things kind of went down initially, that was the first thing I did was I laid off our staff. And it was also, I mean, aside from that decision, we were also slow already. It was our slower time of year coming out of trade shows in spring. Summer starts to ramp up, and then we're really heavy third and fourth quarter business. So I guess considering like when things happened, it was like the most optimal time, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously not ideal, but reactively, I made the choice to basically eliminate any cash output as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, cutting back employees and trying to figure out what that looked like. Also, talking to our landlords, any bills that were outstanding. For a whole week, I basically just said, no money out. We need to push pause. We need to figure out what's going on. And I mean, needless to say, there's some residual from that. Our income definitely isn't what it was or anticipated to be for the last 2 months. But I think that all things considering, we're still able to pay our rent. We're still able to keep things going, which is good. We're just having to really shift gears, which in hindsight is probably not a bad thing, given that 2020 was kind of the year of strategy with direct to consumer, for the company anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So this just kind of was like a nudge in the right direction, if you will.
And the overall sales obviously are you're I mean, you're dealing more with internet sales than you've ever had to deal with before. New challenge, I guess, more than anything else. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah, and still, the gross that's coming in is still probably a third of what it would be from our boutique or independent sales. So we're definitely being affected by this. But the one thing I will say is like the last week, we've started seeing a lot more wholesale, like small boutique owners across the US starting to place orders, which for what a solid 3 weeks, we didn't see a single order come in. And in fact, any order that we had on the books was being pushed back or canceled altogether.
mm-hmm.
So now, the activity and the chatter is still there. And I think that it's just going to be a different way of living,
Right.
more direct to consumer tailored. And then also, I think that the big giants are going to be what kind of carry people through. So you look at, Macy's is a poor example right now because they're not on a good list.
Do you want to use them as? Can you phone a friend and try something else on that one?
Yeah, so we're set to. We've been talking with some bigger retailers. Whole Foods is one of them that we haven't officially launched yet, but we actually just sent out a last minute spring order for Whole Foods in the Southwest. Um, so that was kind of something unexpected. And we just started talking to them recently, like 3 weeks ago. And I think I remember telling you about that. Like, oh my gosh, this was the last minute order that we had no idea we were going to get.
Right.
And granted, like when you're dealing with those big retailers, the terms are definitely different. So instead of getting paid right then, you're sitting on the order for, 30 to 60, 90, sometimes 90 days, depending on the retailer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I think companies like ours are going to have to rely a little bit heavier on those big box stores, the ones that have kind of the guts to keep going, and especially grocery. You know, that's one thing that I don't think has slowed down. If anything, it's exploded. You know, I was in Safeway the other day and I heard over the intercom they were announcing that they were hiring.
Right.
So it's just crazy how the world shifted.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, do you ever feel, I mean, obviously sales are down, but do you ever feel guilty for like in this time where, I mean, we both know people that their businesses are completely either flat or down, where yours is sort of continuing to move forward a little bit. Now, not obviously the same growth as it was before, but it's still going. Do you ever feel guilty about that?
Um, I don't know if guilty is the right word. I definitely feel humbled and I feel, I don't know, I don't want to say feel sorry. I definitely feel some remorse for people that are struggling for sure. I think that, you know, back to kind of the word of the day from last week, tenacity. Um,
Tom was good with that one. I like the fact that he came up with that one. That was
yeah,
really good. Whoops. Oh,
it's,
hey, that's a new input right there. No, nobody's ever seen that one yet.
it's, I don't know. It's, I think it's harder to push forward than it is to just sit back and let things unfold.
Hmm.
Um, and at first, that's definitely what I did. I went through a panic mode too, but
Really?
I'd like to think
I didn't see that panic mode. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see that
that's
at all.
that's panic for me. I mean, I'm used to living in chaos between three kids and a business and stuff. You just kind of you
Yeah.
learn to go with the punches.
Oh
But
yeah.
this is one of those situations where I seriously think it's sink or swim. You know, you get to the point where you can either let this overtake you or you can overcome it. And you and I talked about this a lot on like the unreleased podcast, you know, how
Oh yeah, those.
creativity, yeah, creativity has a lot to do with success, you know, and a lot of people think, oh, you know, that CEO or that business person is very smart. Well, that might be true. They might have some sort of education to back their decision, but I think ultimately, you know, it's listening, it's accepting advice. I am a huge proponent of constructive criticism. I think that people genuinely want to help you. There definitely are some negative people that can influence you, but if you choose to surround yourself with kind of like-minded people, I think all they really want to do is build you up. Oh, look at and Ann Allen right now. She's waving at us. Yeah,
Oh, is she? Is she? She must be
she's
in
one of
your.
my
She
people.
must be in
Yeah,
your watch party because I don't see
yeah,
her
she is.
on mine. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, she's just kind of same thing, like-minded people. You know,
Right.
you work together to build each other up and encourage each other. And I think the more people you have in your circle, personally or business-wise, that you can lean on and just say, "Hey, this is what I'm going through," and be super vulnerable, the better you are to come out of this. But it takes again tenacity behind that. Like people want to help you, and you can't take it as criticism in the sense that you're failing. It's more these people don't want you to fail.
Right.
So sometimes, you know, it takes fighting your pride and listening and saying, you know, maybe they're right. Maybe that is a good perspective or something I should be looking at.
Right. So here's the because I've now said for many days, hey Afton, I need some advice. So
Yeah.
here's my vulnerability moment. What do you?
Cheers.
Oh, you're. Oh, cheers. I'm empty. I'm empty, Afton. See, look, empty. That's okay. I don't think I can have any more because if I have any more, I think I'm going to start slurring. I'm a lightweight. Oh my gosh. Okay. So here, when I asked you the question about, do you feel guilty? I have been struggling because I have some very good friends that our business acquaintances plus friends, and they have no work right now. And that's. I mean, I also have a lot of friends that are that are in the church business, and they don't know what to do because everybody's had to go online, and everybody's basically doing a ton of work. But for me, because I knew these things, I just have been doing. And my struggle right now, and this is when I need some sage advice by somebody who's been through some growth times and some growth struggles, I guess, is I'm really struggling right now to figure out, because I've been a solopreneur pretty much for most of my life. I mean, I have teams that are, 26 people plus usually, for
Right.
large events, but the reality is that, day in and day out it's more me. And I'm just sort of like at a point where I'm like, I am not sure what to do because I've got so much work that if I get any more, I'm mentally and emotionally going to start breaking down. I think I've done a
Right.
good job and moving forward, but the reality is that, and I want to continue to support. I mean, it's not like one of those things that I'm being vulnerable out there, and I don't want any of my clients to go, oh well, Matt's got too much work. It's like, no, I want to be able to do your work plus continue to help all those other people because because there are, like earlier today I had somebody running an event while I was running an event. So the reality is I know that I've got people, but sage advice at this point in time, what would you say for me that I should be looking at and be concerned about overall as I sort of hit this speed bump of growth?
Well, I think naturally, anytime you start a new business, and your business isn't new, but this concept of being digital is. So you pretty much relaunched your company. And we were talking about this a month ago, during when this pandemic first hit, you and I sat down and we had a ton of talks about pretty much overnight, all of your events fell out and you had nothing to do. And you were scared. You were like, what am I going to do? And I said,
Mm-hmm.
this is what you're good at. You know how to do digital, just go with it.
Right.
Um, and at the time, it seemed really far fetched. And now it sounds like that's, the least of your concerns. But I think that in the infancy of any business, when I started Broken Top, I was pouring candles in my kitchen
So,
with
so,
3 kids.
so do I pull up those Facebook photos right now of you from an early age, seeing you doing that? Because there are some pictures on your Facebook page of you doing that.
Oh, Lord.
Not that I've Facebook
Whatever.
stalked you or anything.
I'm not scared. You can throw up whatever you want within reason.
I don't have any of those. Okay, I don't have any of those. Jeez.
I think, it's just the adaptability. It's going to take a while for you to get comfortable. But the other thing that, I would caution you about is the fact that I think people are going to get really sick of this way of living, and I was actually on a Zoom meeting today with one of my mentors, and he lives in Arizona. And usually he comes to Bend once a month and we'll go to coffee and have conversations. And at the end of it, we always end with a hug. And we are rating our Zoom conference call. It's like, okay, if you can do it over the phone, that meeting is like a 4. In person, it's a 10. Now, Zoom, we rated an 8, which is still a pretty good ranking. But at the end of the call, he said, you know what I missed the most? I missed hugs and handshakes.
Hmm.
And he's totally right. Like, I think the scary part for you is you've gone through reinventing yourself, but I think people are going to be so anxious to get back out there, and events will pick back up.
Mm-hmm.
Mass gatherings will pick back up. So I think that what you're going through now is going to be a temporary heavy burden that will shake out in the long run for you to, if anything, be able to expand your portfolio. And I think that any stage of starting something new, it's like when you have a newborn, there's so much more work that goes into it in the first couple of months than the first couple of years. And I think that's kind of the stage that you're at right now. I don't
Uh,
know if that's sage advice, but
yeah, no, I think, I mean, I think, You know, that the reality is that gosh, I keep hitting that button. Dang it, I don't even know how to hit that button. I I'm yeah, because when we get on the other side, I mean, the reality is that I've done events, so I mean, those events are not gonna, but they are gonna change. I mean, we aren't going to do the huge events that we used to do. We just won't because we're like, I mean, in one of the projects I've been working on is combat COVID-19 Central Oregon, and one of the docs was like, we're 18 months. We really are 18 months before we can get back to where we were with large gatherings and the whole 9 yards. So I don't events are going to look totally different for me, and that's been an interesting thing for me, and doing what we're doing right now. I would have never dreamed about 5 years ago, and yet for some reason I feel so comfortable in it that I'm like trying to figure out, okay, well, what does this look like on the other side? What's going on over
I
there?
was yawning.
Do you need to go to bed, Afton? Is this past your
No.
bedtime? Oh, I think it is past your bedtime, isn't it? Is it? Oh, it's 10:16. I think it is past your bedtime. You're gonna get up early. Well, I am too, but
Yeah.
so it's just a weird thing to think about the fact that our lives have completely changed, and that's okay. That is okay because we
Mhm.
are going to figure it out on the other side. We as business owners and entrepreneurs, that's what we do. If you're, I'm going to make a statement. If you're a true entrepreneur, you adjust, you adapt. My problem is I've not had a very good, I've just wanted to go do the work and be a good person. But the reality is that, I have adapted for 10 plus years as I've gone through this. So looking at this right now, I want to do what I'm doing right now with you right now. I am so comfortable in this chair pushing buttons and creating content like this that I don't know what that looks like on the other side because I'm completely out of my element right now. I am so far. I'm the guy that's behind the camera, never in front of the camera. And the reality is this camera is 3 feet away from me, and I'm staring into a screen looking at the camera. So I'm
Do you
just
remember the first time we went live
no.
on Facebook and YouTube?
I don't remember. I can go back and look. I'm sure it sucked, but
It was only, yeah, I would be interested in watching that again as well. But it's crazy to think it was only like what, maybe 5, 6 weeks
yeah.
ago?
Yeah, it was literally I think 6 weeks ago. I think 6
Yeah.
weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, here it's funny as I could probably look that up real quick. Um the actually it's going to be on YouTube is probably going to be the best place for it. Um let's see here because I put it on my Facebook or not, excuse me, not my Facebook, my YouTube page before I had created Show Up. So there's
That's
actually
just
some.
good. I totally get it. And so for anybody that's watching at 10 o'clock at night,
We have a few
uh,
people. What's funny is I'm like, wow, we actually have a few people watching right now.
Matt and I originally connected because he did, what do you call it? My pre-interview for a Ben Chamber event, and twice now, 2 years in a row. And this year, when I came in, I was actually traveling, so you had to do like a makeup meeting for me. And I came in and I asked Matt if he had ever done a podcast. And he said, well, it's kind of funny because I'd been working with somebody and we were trying to start it, but it was kind of having some struggles with getting launched. And I said, I really want to start a podcast. And I think both of our intentions were definitely different. And I've actually revisited that conversation recently. And I told you the reason I wanted to do it is because I eventually want to public speak.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to young entrepreneurs and young aspiring artists about, the story, the success story behind Broken Top and what you can do when you're creative and put your mind to things. And Matt and I decided we were going to start this podcast. And we had no idea. We knew it wanted to be about business, but we had no idea what the topic was going to be. And after our first conversation, maybe an hour conversation, we're like, creativity.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
We want to launch a podcast about creativity within, not specifically as an entrepreneur, but just in business realm in general,
Right.
or life.
Right.
Um, so we actually videoed what 3 podcasts before like all of this COVID took
Yeah.
place
Yeah.
that we still haven't launched, right?
Yes. It's funny.
And it,
So here's actually a still. That's a hilarious still of my face right now. But this was literally. So this was we streamed this March 17th is when we streamed this actually. So
wow, so a month.
yeah. So it's funny to look at the studio and look at obviously how things have changed and yeah, those big huge headphones that I had you were wearing. That's hilarious.
I wonder what our conversation was about. I'll have to go back and watch on Monday.
Yeah. I mean, it was a discussion, small business support discussion of creativity. I mean, this is when you had nothing to do. You weren't busy again. And then you got busy again, and it's like, sorry, Matt, I'm gone. Fine, Afton,
because
whatever.
I went from being CEO to being a school teacher
I don't want to.
to
You know what? All I hear is excuses right now. I don't care that
I'm the worst.
you're
I'm
the
the
mom, the
worst.
homeschool mom now, plus the business. I just don't. I'm kidding. Obviously, I hope people
And
realize.
well,
I
now
hope people
luckily,
realize that I'm kidding there.
thank God this week I'm actually able to go back in the office because, like I said, it's a different kind of busy. I'm, answering phones. I'm trying to. I had to do a refund on Shopify the other day,
Oh
and
no.
thank God I was talking to a friend that also had a website through Shopify, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you just go and do this and this." I'm like, "Oh my God, thank God I
So
was talking."
so they told you how to do the refund in other words
Yeah,
as you're doing
yeah.
it. That's
So I'm
hilarious.
on the phone. I'm on the phone with her, and then I'm on the phone with a customer. And my infamous
Oh
line
my.
in the warehouse, like if I answer the phone and I have no idea what I'm doing, I always just say, "I just work here. I just work here. I don't know what I'm doing. I just work here."
Oh, we've talked about this. I think you need to watch the intern. I've got to give you a copy of that. Not that I would have a copy of it. I just admitted on here that we won't talk about that. What we're talking about. No, you have to see the intern because it's one of those. It's hilarious because she reminds me a lot of you, basically.
Yeah.
That
Who's the actress?
that's well, it's oh my gosh. Oh, we've talked about this. Anne Hathaway.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
I love her buggy eyes. They're
oh
so
yeah,
cute.
it's hilarious. And then it's got oh, it's just a really good movie. It's just really I could bring it up and stream it, but then I would definitely have a copyright infringement there.
I would have to fall asleep if you put a movie on right now.
So I guess that the let's see how many people are. Oh, we still have some people. It's funny. It's like according to this, we have 3 people. I don't know. It could be more, but it's funny. What's hilarious is what I've noticed is that this we'll wake up in the morning and there'll be like 100 people that have watched this. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we created some content that people enjoy.
Apparently, they have nothing better to do while they drink coffee.
Well, it would be in the middle of the night, so you'll have to figure out what they're doing in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah. Do you sleep good? Are you a good sleeper?
Heck no. Right now,
No?
I again, full disclosure, has a lot to do with spending 6 years sleeping next to somebody. Now I don't have somebody next to sleep next to, and I'm not. My mind is racing also all night long right now, and so
I have deep, deep, deep sorrowful sympathy for people that do not sleep well. I have several very close friends that struggle with sleep, and man, I'll tell you what, the second my head hits that pillow, I do not wake up until my alarm goes off.
I fall asleep well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I fall asleep well, but I've just been waking up like 3 or 4 times a night, and it's just I'm also have had leg cramps because I think I've been drinking too much coffee.
I'm pretty sure like sitting there all day
Well,
might have something to do with it.
And I looked at a shirt that I had on today, and I'm like, oh, I had done a really good job in losing weight, and now, yeah. So I need to figure out a way to get out in the afternoon and at least do a little
You
walking.
got to get a standing desk, Matt.
We've talked about this. You don't want to look underneath this desk right now. I've added more to it in the last 24 hours, and it is it's pretty scary. There's adapters on top of adapters, which I
Oh,
don't
you
really
need an
like.
exercise ball. You can sit on an
That's
exercise
what
ball.
So actually, Dawn, who's one of my clients, actually she told me the same thing. But then she also said that, well, I won't embarrass her, but she said something about it. But yeah, I don't think that's gonna work, honestly,
Why?
because
All I'm hearing right now is excuses.
really?
Is that what
So
you
so
told me?
see what I
That's
can
what you
do.
just
See right
told me.
now, I could just totally just like leave this on this shot and just like I could let's see. Yeah, well, yeah, there's that. Yeah, I mean, yes, there is an excuse, but I need to get out and do some exercise. I have literally been sitting here. It feels like for like the last 2 weeks straight.
You need to schedule some time to go for a walk.
Maybe,
Maybe. What
maybe.
is that? Maybe.
Well,
So
oh yeah, yeah. What did you do?
I took the kids for a walk yesterday.
And
We
now
went.
before you say too much more, you got to say the ages of your kids so they understand that this is, and at least in the case of one of them, actually, it would be like,
Well,
okay,
first of all, they were not on leashes. Um, so yeah, Austin, my daughter's 12 and my boys are 6 and 3. So we live on a pretty long dirt road, and the kids decided they wanted to go check the mail, which is, we've done that before. So I was wearing flip flops and we took off, and Clayton's 3 and he's walking in like these rain boots that are probably 4 sizes too big, just, as you're walking. And we get to the mailbox and I was like, let's just keep going. So we went around the block and we came up, the road behind our house. And as you get towards the end of the road, there's a big hill. So we're walking, and by the time we get to the hill, the boys are like, I'm so tired. Will you carry me? And I'm looking down at my feet, and they're filthy and they hurt. And I was like, wow, this is a real good idea. So I got in a mile walk yesterday
okay. Well, I
in
mean,
flip flops.
yeah, it was your yeah. Well, okay, in flip flops. Do you have blisters now?
No,
Oh,
surprisingly.
wow.
I just had really dirty feet. Like I had to take a shower with my flip flops on.
That's sort of an interesting picture. I don't know exactly.
It's fine. It's like the dorm. It's totally good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never had that experience though,
I
and
didn't either. Just
I
think
was gonna
about
say
movies.
you didn't either. So so, anyways, there's that.
I pretended like it was some sorority movie as I was
Oh,
washing my hair. Like,
oh,
yes, no
jeez.
COVID, jocks all around.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, how much longer? I have some concerns right now because I think people are getting stir crazy, which I'm like, yeah, I think we just need to all kind of chill out. But the reality is what is your feeling? I have a feeling, but what is your feeling on how much longer we're going to be before we're even back to just, I don't know, even able to go to a restaurant in a some capacity? What's your gut tell you at this point in time? I mean, you don't have to, go out on a limb, but what are you feeling?
I think that I personally think that nationally they're going to open it up sooner than they should. Um, I know that we talked about the Oregon, Washington, California pact.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I haven't double checked what that looks like as of this week or if they've even updated it. But I agree with you. I think people are getting stir crazy. I've noticed traffic in town is definitely picking up.
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion is we are already in this. And I think that if we can all just be conservative for a few more weeks, I'm hoping that we kind of put it to rest that way. I think the crappy part would be is if we open it back up and then all of a sudden more cases start popping up
Right.
and
Yeah.
we're back to square one.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, school's already canceled. I think that kids were probably the least of our concerns as far as all that. That's probably just my biased opinion being stuck with your kids. uh, but really, I think, and I can't speak for everywhere else, but I feel like our community has been super adaptable to all of this
Mm-hmm.
and very considerate. And I think that, people are doing the best that they can with the situation and helping small businesses, the ones that have chosen to stay open. There's quite a few restaurants and things that have chosen to close, which could probably be a really smart move on their point, just holding on to cash reserves.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my strategy. And what works for one person maybe not work for another. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. At this point, this is kind of the new normal. So,
Right. Yeah.
What about you? What do you
Well,
think?
I'm talking to Sherry Helt tomorrow at 3:30. And I got on this morning and did my Matt's musings, and it's a serious concern I have. The reality is that I feel for a lot of my friends right now that do not have work, and the reality is that they're also in a business that they may not have work for several more months. It's not gonna. I mean, like the event world is not going to concerts, events. They're not going to come back for several months. And I think for me personally, I am a little concerned that we're gonna push to open just because we want to open. The craziest experience, I think I told you this, but this craziest experience I've had in the last few weeks was going to the laundromat, and everybody there was, one, not wearing a mask, two, they were not supposed to be inside the laundromat folding their clothes. They were supposed to basically go in, put their clothes in, and people were just hanging out. And I was like, oh, this is bizarre and weird because, even when you go to a grocery store, people are, they're trying to practice, distancing and that whole 9 yards. But in there, everybody was just sort of hanging out together. And I'm like,
Isn't
whoa.
that scary in itself that that's becoming the new normal? Like you
Yeah.
see people getting out of their cars going into the grocery store and they're masking up, and it's like, how long is it going to be like this? Aside from, even if restaurants do open, are we going to go in and everybody's going to be wearing masks? It's like, I don't know. It's weird to think of it ever going back to before this now.
Yeah. Well, and Dr. Oh my gosh, I can't. She doesn't have an easy last name, but she, on the combat COVID-19, she was, one of the best presentations I've seen about the actual virus was hers, and then another doctor from Central Oregon Pediatrics, and it was just fascinating. We don't have anything to combat this, and until we have, until everybody can be tested, we don't know who's got the antibodies, who doesn't have the antibodies, who might be testing for it, and so, the reality is, walking down the street, I could, if I have it and I have a mild case of it, I could infect, several people if I'm walking down the street. So that's, yeah, it's an interesting thing. When this first started, I was of the belief of, oh, well, this is just, this is a flu. Well, in some capacity it is, but the reality is it is so much more. The death rate's higher, that sort of thing, and it just seems to spread really quick. And I think we're going to be several more months, unfortunately, which.
Well, and then they keep talking about, like the potential for a second outbreak this fall.
Well, yeah. And
so at the same time, you sit there and think, okay, if we quarantine now, like, let's buck up and do it for another month. But is it really going to matter when the cold season hits? And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like there's no predictability in any of this.
No, and we don't know enough about it right now to really know what there are some very intelligent, wise people out there studying this, and I did hear that there was some good testing in Pittsburgh or somewhere that got some good results, but we just don't know, and that sucks. I think, and that's I think probably the hardest part, and that's what I've heard from a couple of people is just the unknown. The unknown of when are we getting out of this? When are we gonna emerge on the other side? But we can't. We got to stay the course, which sucks. But what?
Again, I feel like we're all just kind of used to it at this point. Like this new way of doing things, this new way of communicating. It's is it really that bad now?
Yeah.
It sucked the first week. It sucked
Right.
the second week.
Yeah.
But I think we've all found like our tiny little tribe of 20 people or 10 people that we kind of hang out with, and that's it, and
Mm-hmm.
we're doing a lot more of this, which is beneficial to you right now. Also, I do, I do miss the personal interaction, but I will have to say my productivity is probably a lot higher because I'm not having happy hour. I'm not going to hour and a half long meetings
Uh
when
huh.
I can have a 20-minute phone
Uh
call.
huh.
Um, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how things are done and change.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just.
I think email was the first big change in the world as far as technology, and I think this is going to be the second advancement.
I will tell you, I hate email. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Anyways, that's my feeling right now.
I
Anyways.
spend a ton of time. So I have a question for you. We've been talking for 6 weeks on air, and when we first started talking, it was all about creativity, and now I'm really struggling to figure out like what the hell did we talk about before all this COVID. So I have a question for you, Matt.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. So out of everything that has happened, if you had to give yourself one big kudos as far as the most creative strategy or tactic that you have taken through all of this, what are you the most proud of, creative wise?
That's
That's not
hard.
an answer.
I know. Well, it's hard. We talked about this. I mean, there are people out there that think I have a huge ego, and unfortunately, I don't think I do. I think the one thing that honestly the most creative thing was just seems weird, but just doing it. When things started going south, I mean, this thing right here. As Afton's like not paying attention and doing other things as I switched to the
I was
wide shot.
commenting on our watch party.
Oh, okay. Um, the this sort of layout with two TVs and the whole nine yards is great for this sort of situation. And I'm doing some podcasts for Edco and some other people that are that use this. Um, I mean, for me, the best strategy was just doing it and then telling people I can do it, which is hard. For me, it's always been hard to say, hey, by the way, I can do this and it's going to cost you X dollars. I started out way low, which has caused some issues for me. But yeah, I started out way low on my pricing. And it's like today I had a call with somebody and I'm comfortable with where I'm at now. But I think when you're asking what's the most creative thing, I just it was the 3 a.m., 2 a.m. Realization that I can go do community. I can go do show up. I can go do this thing called Show Up Central Oregon. And I would be doing it every day, 12 hours a day if I could. But there's no money in it, unfortunately. I got to figure that out on the other side. But I think the most creative thing was just the fact that I built the studio. I mean, I used those creative talents that I had of knowing how to creatively create. I call it colluging, basically a bunch of things together to make it happen. I mean, there's the reality is like, there's this input right here that I'm going to start using in the next couple of days. That's a quad split that I used for earlier today. That's nothing more than just a stinking hack. And the general audience, they love it, but for me, I hate it. But I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, I guess. How do you take no money and create revenue out of it, basically? What is that? Swine and pearls, or what's that? How does that go? I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I think it depends on your drive though too. Like you've always naturally been such a giver as far as community and outreach and um when I first started Broken Top, I definitely undervalued my products and the sell value. And then as you start looking at your competition and what they're charging, you're like, okay, this is legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have people that are like, oh, you're too expensive. I can't afford you. But then
Right.
you're going to have people that, become your tried and true. So, yeah, I think that for sure you reacted in a positive way. And as Tom would say, you were tenacious and you push forward. Don't undervalue yourself. Like there's a lot of talent that you possess that other people don't. And if they really, really need it or want it, they'll pay for it.
Right. Well, and that's the self value within a, it's one thing when you look at, and don't, I mean, I don't think you'll take this the wrong way, but when you create a product, it's easy to say, well, I need to mark this up 35% because these are the raw costs. This is the amount, and say, okay, this is but for me, it's always been this intangible thing about creating value in my time. That's what my value is, I guess, more than anything
Yeah,
else.
it does, but it doesn't. Like even when I launched the new products and priced them where I did, it's obviously the cost is way less than double. You know what I mean? Or even triple or quadruple. But what you have to realize is when you start growing, there's other expenses that start growing. So like right now, you have no overhead. You have no studio. You don't have, I mean, you have your house, but let's say you wanted to get your own studio outside of your home.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start factoring in those costs. And
Right.
if you start doing it now, then you can start saving and building towards that.
Whatever. Come on, you're just talking too logical right now, and things that I again,
I
I'm
am.
I'm the personality type that just wants to go do it, and I don't have that sort of that banker in me that's like
See, I'm the opposite. I had this conversation recently with somebody and I said, I love to build things, but then I have to be able to hand it off. I can't be the maintenance guy. Like I'm not good at that. I lose interest, I get bored.
uh,
So even with the candles, if I still had to pour the candles, there's no way. I would have failed so long ago because I would have gotten bored.
so,
And my dad took that portion over,
right,
so it was like, okay, I don't have to worry about that. What can I focus on next?
right,
And then
yeah,
it was sales, and then it was, just little email marketing and little tiny things. And any chance I get to do something and do it well and then pass it off, I am all about that.
right, yeah. Yeah, that's the I think the biggest challenge as an entrepreneur is just what that looks like, more than anything else, and how to evolve. Yeah, it's an interesting time, honestly, because in some respects I'm busier now than I have been, but it's a total different workload. It's
I
a
agree. Well,
weird.
because we're not in this monotonous grind or mundane grind that we
Mm,
were in before, where
mm-hmm.
everything was just so routine. You had XYZ, these were your tasks, you're getting up every day doing the same thing. Now it's like there's added stress to your plate, not just emotionally, but I think within a business, definitely physically as well. Things that you normally probably wouldn't be doing, you're having to tackle now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, we're we can only be superhumans for so long.
My nickname for you is Superwoman, so I mean, there you go.
I'm pretty sure you've put that on our Facebook
I
Messenger a
have, I
couple of
have,
times.
I have totally done that before. Hey, it's almost, well, it's 10:45. There are still actually a couple of people watching, but
I got 4 on my watch party.
do you really?
I
Wow,
do. Look,
dang,
4.
wow. So, I mean, do you want to just keep going? Well, we can go all night if you want.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
that's the So Afton, what's been the most creative thing you've done? I have one that would be creative for you, but what has been the most creative thing that you've done during this time, do you feel?
Mm, I think launching the sanitizer was definitely, I don't know, I think it was creative, but it had a lot to do with strategy as well. The building our direct to consumer, that was something that we had put in as far as like a strategic move that we wanted to make this year. That was a big factor. But honestly, our goals weren't to target that until third and fourth quarter. So kind of taking, I hate this word, but like taking advantage of the situation right now and saying, okay, what are we left with? What can we do?
Right.
And that was our direct to consumer platform. So pivoting and not only, launching the sanitizer on our retail website, but also saying, okay, now we're going to put all of our focus that was primarily wholesale into direct to consumer.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken a ton of creativity
Right.
to do the e-blast, to come up with promotions and different sort of photography and wording, like verbiage, wording. Um, that's probably been the biggest shift for us, like going from a wholesale company to a retail direct to consumer website.
Mm-hmm.
It's been interesting.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because I mean, you started your business as a direct to consumer, and then you moved to more of wholesale, and now you're in both. I mean, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we totally are. Yeah, it's always been one of those things that's a little daunting to me because it takes money to throw at it as far as the direct to consumer side of things that you usually don't get a good return on very quickly.
Right.
Um, Again, kind of, I I feel so. You were talking about how you feel guilty about how some of your friends are working and this and that. I kind of feel guilty in the sense that this was an opportunity that we could have started building a long time ago when it was
Mm-hmm.
harder, and now we've taken advantage of a situation. Um, and I'd like to think that it's not a negative thing, but at the same time, like I feel bad for companies that were not as fortunate to be able to pivot.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, there's some guilt there. Obviously, it's still exciting and thrilling to see something that we've been wanting to work on finally become successful. But I have some guilt.
Right.
There's some guilt in there for sure.
Yeah. 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 It is. I mean, and it's hard because when you are a true entrepreneur and you're just gonna do what needs to be done for to make it happen. It's not like you stumble into success. It's that tenacity that allows you to be success. I mean, the reality is, I feel like well, I'm not an overnight success, but I feel like some of the things I've been doing are sort of created a success, but it's taken me 14 years to get here. So, you know, it's
Yeah, but you have to think about it. That's a lot of hard work that goes
oh
into it, and
yeah,
that's what I try to remind myself.
yeah,
Like this is something that I've been prepping for, and I've spent a lot of money to do and a lot of energy to do it.
mm-hmm.
This is our third website that we've built, which has taken a ton of time, a lot of money. Um, there's work that definitely goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a free ride,
Yeah.
if
No,
you will.
absolutely. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and that's what I mean when I'm saying I'm an overnight success. I'm an overnight success with 14 years of work basically, and
I
that's
feel
yeah,
you.
and that's the reality is that as an entrepreneur, as somebody, it takes time, and there are no home runs when there are, well, I shouldn't say there are none, but there are very few home runs right out of the gate. You've got to work for it, and if you look at you look at the Ubers, all these other things that look like they're successful. I mean, they've actually been around for a long time now, and it
Hmm.
hasn't been just last year. It's you
But
know
also, it's an independent thing too. You look at, I know other product based companies that start very young, go in, get funding, find investors, and they're able to blow it up.
Hmm.
It's one thing to do it organically. It's another when you start getting investors and money involved. So everybody's got their own strategy, and I know for you, there's things that you're probably not so excited about versus things that you're really proud and excited about. And it's funny because from business to business, you could probably have like three businesses lined up that did the exact same thing, exact same customers,
Hmm.
and they're all going to be thriving on something different within their companies.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it is such a business has always been. I feel like I've gone down the right road a few times and then gone backwards. And I think a lot of that has been my own personal issues, which
It doesn't matter. I think that's what it's supposed to be like that. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
yeah, I tended to short circuit. I tended to actually have a lot of self doubt that I shouldn't have had. I was very negative thought process that didn't allow me to say, you know what, I know what I'm doing. I just need to keep pushing forward. I would pull up short as opposed to just saying, no, I've got the talent to make this happen. So for me, it was very, very self doubt that just got in my way more than anything else. Which is,
I'll be your cheerleader.
thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So yeah. So I think today and this time, this is an opportunity for all of us to lean into each other, and to create something unique too. I mean, I think, like we've talked about, I think the reality is that we are in a different time, and what we create out of this will be, I think, truly unique. I think there's going to be a lot of art and creativity that comes out of this that people had no idea that they had, but they got the reality of, oh well, I got to spend hours at home and I
and
got to
and
I got to
and
create.
homeschoolers and landscapers
Yep.
and home remodelers. You can be like, I did not know I knew how to tile my bathroom floor.
When are you doing that, Afton?
Oh, I'm not. Are
Oh,
you kidding
okay.
me?
I'm not either. Believe me, I am not the handyman. I can wire a multi-camera remote, but don't ask me to hammer two by fours and cut them to the right length. I
I
will.
organized my pantry this weekend.
That was good. Did you throw away lots of food that was old?
No, there was nothing old. I just organized it.
Oh, there was nothing old. Wait, there was
Yeah,
nothing old.
no.
I find that hard to believe. Nothing.
Well, I just moved in December.
I guess I don't know this. Did you?
Yeah, yeah. Moved from Bend to Sun River in December.
Oh, for some reason I thought
So
you lived in that house longer than that.
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
So yeah, the pantry. I mean,
Okay, so
it
that
was
does
one of
make
those like
sense.
it got unloaded in there, but it never really got put away
Yeah, no, that makes
properly.
sense. And you would have probably thrown things that were bad away when you moved.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, that makes
I
sense.
have three kids. I just feed it to them. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. No, she does not do that. Come on, people. Don't think that she really does that in real life.
No mother is judging right now.
No. Well, at 11 o'clock at night, they better not be judging. they're watching two. They're watching two people practicing social separate or social distancing, talking on over the internet. Let's see.
And I'm sure they have a glass of wine in hand if they are up to sleep.
Oh, I'm empty, but
You're empty?
I better not have anything more because
Yeah.
I don't think I would wake up very well in the morning.
I need to go to bed.
Okay, you go to bed. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know. You gave me some advice. I know I'm still in a weird spot, but I think I have to get through it more than anything else.
You either got to buck up or pull back on the reins.
Isn't that the same thing?
No, buck up is like push through. Pull back in the reins is like slow down.
Yeah, but if you're on a bucking horse, you'd be doing the same thing.
Who said this horse is bucking?
Oh, it's bucking right now. Believe me.
Okay, let's rethink this.
Okay.
So if you're on a bucking horse, you can either pull back the reins or jump the hell off.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not jumping off. That's for sure.
Then hold on tight.
I am going to hold on tight. Yes, that's what I'm going to do, and try to work on helping or people helping
So
me.
you mentioned that you have friends in the same industry that are struggling like you. Is
Hmm.
there any way that you could help them set up minimally what you have and push down the stuff that might be easier for them to handle versus what you want to put on your plate being the bigger stuff?
Good question. I have built a secondary installation of kind of what I have that can handle small projects, and I actually have somebody that will be doing that. But again, remember that whole thing that it said, whoa, that was cool. That said that I didn't value my time right.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things that I unfortunately have sort of committed to making it, and when I committed to them, it was like there wasn't really anything else on the plate. So I'm like, oh, this is great, just some income and I'll just sort of coast through. But then people started seeing what I could do. And so, but supply and demand is higher than the supply. So therefore I can charge more, right? Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
You can charge more, but also you have to realize everybody, especially in my industry, everybody thinks they need it right now, but if they really want it, they're willing to wait.
Hmm. Well, a lot of it's dealing with news right now, and so that's for me has been we have to do it as quick as possible. So unfortunately, I wish I had more time sometimes, but the reality is, my frustrations or other clients' frustrations were last week in the fact that I just didn't quite get stuff done as quick as I needed to get done. But and that's why I'm growing and trying to figure it out. Right? Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
This is what we call growing pains in a business.
Owie! It
You never
hurts.
thought you'd be back there, did you?
Oh, I don't know that I've ever. I mean, I've had stress, but I don't know that I've ever had growing pains like this.
Oh,
Yeah,
it sucks.
yeah. I did have somebody working with me for a long time, which was actually really cool. Actually, we got a lot done. That was really fun. Those were some good times. But
Employees are amazing.
yeah, when they work, but you have good ones. So
I do. I have the best employees. Are you kidding me?
I know that's probably hard. It's probably hard to not have them around a lot because they're family.
It is. Can I tell you a secret?
No, but you're gonna do it
Beth,
anyway.
I am going to do it. Beth came in the office today,
Yes.
and I hadn't seen her since last, I think, Tuesday, maybe Thursday. And she walked in, and I turned my head and I said, I have to hug you. I said, I promise I won't breathe on you. I need a hug.
Oh. Was your dad in the
So
room?
no, he was
Oh.
in the warehouse.
So you're gonna tell him that you did that?
No?
Well, I guess technically she's in the office, so I guess it's not.
Are you kidding? She's a germaphobe.
Okay.
Like, if it weren't for her, she comes in, the first thing she did, I'm sitting there talking to her. Like, after I hug her, she walks over and gets sanitizer and she's like, and then she gets rubbing alcohol and she's cleaning the phones because she hasn't been there and the keyboards. And she looks at me and she's like, come with me. Let's talk. And we go into my office and then she cleans my entire keyboard and my mouse while we're having a conversation.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah. This is like,
Oh.
she's the resident germaphobe.
Well, that's nice. That was nice of her to clean your office for you.
Yeah. She's the best employee, I'm telling you. She's amazing. Yeah.
Oh my. Well, you go to bed. I
Okay.
mean, it's time to. It's. I should probably go to bed because we both tend to get up at the same time, and that's really early.
You're dancing.
You're dancing. Why are you?
Hmm.
Why are you dancing?
I don't know because I'm tired. I need to go to bed.
We've been on the air for an hour and 3 minutes. Did you know that? 1 hour.
You're fun.
1 hour.
What can I say?
Thanks. Yeah. I'm riveting. All right. Well.
Wait, riveting or ribbiting?
Uh. I'm like the Frog Prince, so I'm a riveting. I think there's a movie about that. I think the frog is. Oh, the princess is. Yeah. I think there's several movies I think about that. Hey, by the way, if
Okay.
you haven't seen Frozen 2, go see Frozen 2. Or watch Frozen 2. It's a good movie, by the way.
I saw it in theaters. You
Oh.
remember what a theater is, right?
I think that's my bedroom where I put it on my TV.
Do you eat popcorn in bed?
I don't have any popcorn to eat, so I probably
Why?
would. I probably would if I don't have a microwave.
You don't need a microwave for popcorn?
Well, I don't. Right, but you do need something else to make it in, and I don't even
They
have
sell it
those.
in bags now,
Oh,
pre-popped.
yeah. Oh, wait. Hold on. Yes, it's called Boom Chicka Pop, and it's horribly good, and you eat the entire bag in one sitting. Because I've done that. Well, I haven't done the entire thing. That's hence the reason I need to go for a walk. I was walking like 6 miles, well, 10 miles maybe every week, and then this thing hit, and then now I'm glued to this chair. Too much. Too
At
much.
least it's an ergonomic chair.
It's my new chair because my other chair was was dead. It did not work. Well, I was like 12 years
Dead
old
to
too.
me.
I was like 12 years old.
It was dead to
It
me.
it was dead to me. All right. Well, so you go to bed. I'm gonna go to bed. Tomorrow I have Tom Schnell coming on at 3. I have Sherry Helt coming on at 3:30. I have a COVID response or a COVID Central Oregon at 4. Actually, it's gonna be talking. Actually, that's gonna be you might. It would be age appropriate. Austin might want to watch that. We're talking about teens and COVID. So at 4. So,
So
anyways,
she could weigh in.
well, she's almost a teen. So
She's a tween. That's
she is.
even worse.
I know it is. And then what else do I have? I feel like tomorrow's a really busy day. Let's see. Oh, I've got to shoot in the morning too.
Oh, I yawned. I did it.
Oh, I'm gonna do positive talk with Josh. That's gonna be fun. I always like talking to Josh. Have you watched that? Have you seen Josh Cordell and I talk?
No, I'm horrible.
Two guys talking about our feelings. So that's a real extreme concept right there.
Mm.
I know, exactly. So, and Josh and I are going to be on at 8 tomorrow night. So, it's not going to be it's not going to be late night with Affton and Matt. It's going to be positive talk with Josh. But this was fun. I mean, I don't know who's watching us still. Gosh, we still have people right now. That's crazy. That's weird to me, but
They have nothing better to do. Go to sleep.
then watch us. They're everybody's deal. Oh, I will have to before I leave. Have you sleep probably too well to have, well, we all have dreams, but it's whether or not we wake up to actually realize that we've had the dream. Have you had bizarre dreams during this time? Because I've heard that people have, and I actually can say that I've had some weird ones too.
Yeah, but I think it's more pertaining to other things in my life right now, not necessarily this.
Maybe it's both.
Maybe.
All right, fine. Be that way.
I don't know. No, not really. I've been just so tired. I'll be up in 6 hours.
I'll be up in 6.5.
Hmm.
I get a half more than you.
That's okay.
Okay, Afton. Go to bed. Go to sleep. And I will remind everybody, guess what? Hey, whoops, that's the wrong button. Didn't want to hit that one. Show up for Central Oregon. Thanks all. Thanks for joining us, and have a good sleepy